Hello, and welcome to the Their Voices Matter series. This month, for the month of March, we are focusing on the journey of special education educators. And as you all know, I'm a former special education educator, so I had to make sure I got, some of my family on here. So that way, you're not just hearing from me, you're hearing from other people that are in the field of special education. So please share it to your personal pages. This is extremely important information, and it's just very helpful information too, so make sure you share this out. And if the sound is off, just let me know, put it in the chat. You can put your questions in the chat as well. As we're going through this conversation, definitely put your questions in the chat if you have any. So I'm gonna, without further ado, I'm gonna introduce our guest for today. We have the amazing Demetra Bryant. Let me bring her in. And welcome, Demetra. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. And how are you?
I am doing great. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let people know where you're from and where they can follow you?
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I am Demetra Bryant of My Tutor Helps Me Educational Services. I am located in Georgia. I am from New York. So if you hear an accent, that is the reason why. And if you don't hear an accent, it's because you're from up north like me.
All right. Thank you. So, just to start us off, tell us, how did you get into the field of special education?
You know what? I want to say it's a combination of it found me and I found it.
Ooh,
As a child growing up, one of my best friend's brother had special needs. But as a child, I didn't realize he had special needs. He was like my god brother. He was like, the coolest person, ever. And as I got older, now this is kind of funny, but kind of creepy also. Um, Whenever my daughter and I would go out in the community or go food shopping, whatever, people with learning differences would usually follow us around the store. And she used to say, "Well, Mom, why are these people following us?" And I'm like, "Honey, I don't know." And sure enough, they wanted help. I guess they figured that maybe that I would help them, but they wouldn't go to anybody else. I mean, there's plenty of, everybody came to me. So I took that, and I always wanted to be a teacher. So while finishing maybe my last in college, I decided I wanted to teach, but I needed to do like 900 more years in college. Um, so eventually went into teaching in Washington by an alternative teaching program. Mhm.
so it was basically kind of a it found you
You,
type
so I
of.
don't know if it's
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
yes, exactly. Kind of like it found me, and then eventually and
All right.
it's
Um,
some delay that's going on at my end. Sorry about that.
all right, we're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. But yeah, I find that often sometimes. Our previous guest Jessica,
Uh-huh.
it was like it kind of found her, not necessarily she chose it. But like, yeah, I find that as a common theme with a lot of special education people that go into the field of special education. It finds them, and it just pulls you in.
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and then I was living in Maryland at the time, and they needed special education teachers, and I wanted to teach. And I felt like, you know what, I always had this magnet, of people found why not do special education, especially since education was in a crisis of looking for more special education teachers.
yeah. And yeah, that's another way people get into it's like there's always a need for special education educators. There's always a need. There's never, I'm gonna say it's never not a need, but when you go onto like district websites now and you look at the openings and things like that, you will always find SPED in there for when I tell you elementary, middle, high school, and then even just the different content areas, it's there. It's there. All right. So, what would you say is something that people misunderstand about special education the most? Did you hear me, Dimitri? I'm sorry. Oh, I think she's having a tech issue. Can you hear me, Demetra? Let me see. Hold on. Let me take you out and bring you back in to the stream. All right. What is one of the biggest misunderstandings you think people have about special education?
Ooh, that's like a multi-answer question. Okay, so from a teacher thinking that you are only going to teach and not realizing all the responsibilities that you have as also the case manager and how you have that out.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Say that last part again.
From and let's so from a teacher perspective, thinking that you're only going to teach students with learning nationalities, when in actuality you are the case manager and you have to balance two jobs for the price of one. Yeah.
Yeah.
From a general education perspective, a lot of teachers sometimes don't realize that we have more to offer just besides the legalities of special education, that we do have the credentials to teach that ELA, reading, math, science, or social studies. And then it converts also for them may not have our certification in a particular subject area, and we are mainly focused on special education. From perspective, them understanding that there are a lot of nuances in special education, and communication is the key. So, and from a student perspective, letting them know that you need to follow my instructions and you do what I ask you to do, and you should be able to reach your goals in this IEP.
Yes, you hit on a couple things. But definitely people don't understand that or even know that special education teachers, you're a special education teacher and you're a case manager. And I want to say, like, if you work in a public school, you're a special education teacher and you're a case manager. And when you're new, having to do both of those things can be very overwhelming because you're trying to master being a teacher, getting your routines together, getting your instruction, behavior management, and all that stuff. And then on the other side, here's a whole nother job being a case manager. There's so much that goes into case management, and it's like they literally gave us two jobs into one, because there are positions where you're just a straight case manager because there's so much to do as case management, and people don't understand that at all.
No, they don't. It's many jobs.
It is. You wear many hats, and I think a lot of times they see us, doing pull out or pushing in, and they think, like, that's all you're doing. That's all. Oh, that's all you got to do. Oh, you got a sweet job. Your job is easy. And I used to look at them, and sometimes in some places, you got in some schools, it's like gen ed versus sped, because all they see is you maybe out when you're running to the bathroom, or if you're running to grab a kid, but they don't know you're grabbing that kid to join in a group with other other children, and just everything that goes into it. And it's like, no, my job not easy. It's hard, just like yours. It's hard, just like yours. But it's like that kid you can't seem to keep in your class. You want me to? I'm with that kid for a length of time every single day. And you make it work. You do what you need to do to support, the students that you're servicing. But I think a lot of people do not understand that, and understand the many hats a special education educator wears. It's like, it is so much. It is so much. It is so much. So what would you say is the biggest challenge? Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
My service, my internet is really acting. We're going in and out.
Okay. Did you want to add anything else to that? The misunderstanding piece?
I don't think so. I think we covered that. It's just a lot of misunderstanding.
So you said that SPED shows you there is a lot of misunderstanding with being a SPED educator. What would you say has been the biggest challenge that you have faced or are facing now, and how are you overcoming it?
Let's say with facing now is the severe teacher shortness, with the United States. So, and just not being able to be fully staffed, which leaves other nuances in the students getting all of their services.
Now, where you are, does your school have to contract out for those services, or are they employed by your district?
They are employed by our district. However, it may benefit to really hire independent contractors instead of substitute teachers, because substitute teachers may not have that certification in education, and then also special education sciences with that. But maybe if they were able to, or I'm just saying any school district was able to do independent contractors to help fill those gaps, it may be a great solution.
Yeah, I think it would too, because isn't that like districts have a lot, I want to say employ a lot of related service providers. So the ones they have, their caseload is big already, and sometimes they can't accommodate all of the students that need it.
That
So
is correct.
yeah, so
Correct.
that's something that more schools should do, perhaps, is contract out, like on top of the ones that they have hired, contract out, because this would help you to accommodate all the students that need the particular service versus overwhelming the few you have. Well, you hear that, principal?
Exactly. Also filling less. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
Okay, so instead of maybe hiring like a long-term sub, you have a long-term independent contractor who is knowledgeable, was certified, retired from education or something like that, or who's looking, just something for part-time to help. So then flow of what needs to do with IEPs and their progress monitoring will continue that having possible along the way.
Yes, that is I want to say my last school I was at. I know because when we came back from when the pandemic first hit, we all had to, be home. But when we were able to come back, there were so many students who, was in the process of getting an IP or whatever. The testing wasn't 100% complete because we were home. They definitely, the following year, they definitely contracted out a few psychologists to help with addressing the number of students that had to get their testing done so that way it could be done in a timely manner. I want to say they did. They definitely contracted out a few, to definitely meet that need. And this is just talking to principals now. This is something that you can do. Like I know you want to hire your district or your network wants to hire particular people, but definitely you have students who need the support and need the services. Definitely contract out so that way your students, so that way you remain in compliance and so that you don't get sued. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
hire
Right.
contract. Definitely contract.
Basically, that's what it boils down to.
Basically, it boils down to that. So definitely, yeah. I can imagine. I remember when we had 8 sped teachers to 7, and then we dropped down to 5, and our school had about 1,200 students.
Woo!
And I want to say we had a high special education population. And I never forget, like, that was the toughest year because it was only 5 of us and we were a K-6 school. And then, believe it or not, 2 of the team members went out on maternity leave around the same time. And you talk about leading on the remaining team, like we kind of dissolved like their duties to like we each divided amongst us. But that was the toughest time because no subs came. No subs came, and it would have been great if the school contracted out. Like, not if you didn't even okay, we're not getting no subs. Okay, can we contract out somewhere else? That would have helped us so much. That was, I want to say, that was one of the toughest years I had. Oh, we have a good afternoon from Anika. Hello, Anika. Good afternoon. So yeah, you hit it on right on the
Hello.
nail. Definitely having definitely having schools contract out so that way they can meet the needs of the mandates of the students that they have. So definitely. So you hit on a difficulty that you have experienced and had. So what would you say in your what would be some improvements if you could make to special education? What would they be?
I staff, but also making sure you have enough people to cover in the areas that are needed. So, for example, I know that different states have different certifications or qualifications to fill special education positions. It doesn't help hire somebody who education certification, but they can't teach in the resource classroom. They can only do co-teaching. So that's still missing from, from and it has to be filled somehow. And it's normally several teachers in the school will have to teach multi-grade levels or multi-subjects or multi-subjects and grade levels. And that's a way quality time, because you now have to design those lesson plans on a variety of levels. So let's say you're doing reading and you're doing 7th and 8th grade. Well, that's 4 preps right there for a lesson plan. And then on top of that, the specialized design instruction for each one of those kids, each one of those classes. That's a formula for burnout. Because what we're talking about right there is just the teaching part, not the IEP portion, the case management portion for the students.
You hit on something important right there. Hiring people who can actually, I want to say actually instruct and support and service the students, and not just like you said, co-teach. Because like you also have, you have your different educational placements, you have co-teaching environments, you do have you're pushing, whatever your school does, but you hit on it now, having people who can actually service these students with their instruction, with what their IEP says. We don't always have people who are coming in that have that have a special education background at all. It's like they got the body there. Okay, so I can say, oh, okay, I got the teacher there, the teacher is in there, and that's the warm body, but it's like you don't have someone that has the special education background and the special education experience working with these students. You just, okay, you teach, okay, I need you to come in, but I need you to do this class right here. And I'll say that's occurring a lot, not just in public schools, but also charter schools as well.
Why I think charters were all having issues, but then yet that sense, because the nation is in a crisis for education teachers, needless to say, special education teachers. So it makes sense.
It does, and it does, and it's like I feel like you're grabbing teachers now, like, okay, like literally telling them, I want to say in the charter space, all right, you're gonna be an ICT teacher next year, integrated co-teaching. You're gonna be doing that next year, and it's like they have no SPED background at all, nothing, and I'm like, this is what we're doing now. Like, this is defeating the purpose, and it's like I feel like there's not even the urgency there to even solve the problem. I don't even feel like the urgency is even there to want to solve
the problem.
Exactly. It's like, oh, well, it's like I just feel like now it's just, I feel like education is disrespected, and then special education is disrespected even more. For everything teachers have to do.
Yes. And and then there's and then there's all the nuance with in progress is being done consistently. Is it being is this, are all the students making any growth? Are there any changes that are needed? And that's what I focus on. That's a part of what My Tutor Helps Me does. My students, most of them have IEPs or on a 504 plan. And within tutoring, I am hitting those goal objectives with the students during their tutoring. because that progress monitoring has to be done. Well, we know that from the school portion, but from the tutoring perspective, I'm helping the student close the learning gap in their reading and writing, as well as executive functioning strategies. So, so they can carry those into the classroom to help them be more successful.
Yeah. Yeah. That was that
Yeah.
is that is it. And just you mentioning that, like, just the helping the students, and also when we talked about just that urgency to solve the problem. Like recently I saw on an IG post, it's a parent, and she shared that her child is in an autistic support placement, and she shared that next year they're moving the autistic support placement classrooms into a closet. And I wasn't shocked at all. I was not shocked by that at all, because it's leaders not fully understanding that you can't cut corners with special education. First of all, you can't cut corners with education, period. And then when it comes to special education, you definitely can't cut corners there, because one, students need the space, and because this is a more restricted environment, you need to definitely make sure you have adequate space for the program you're doing for that population. And it was just like, I was so like not
Right.
even shocked. I can't even remember when I was my speech pathologist needed space to do her sessions, and they tried to put her in a supply closet. I was like, so no one's going to use this space at all, because she can't be interrupted with her sessions. Like, she needs her own space. I had to advocate for my speech pathologist to have her own space, because she literally was servicing students all day. I had to advocate for my clinicians, my counselors, to each have their own space, because I had to explain HIPAA laws, and I had to explain they can never share a space. I had to even stress, like, I can't even be in there with them, like, because of just because of that confidentiality, and to be speaking to someone who works in a school but don't understand that. And when I tell you, I had to keep advocate. I'm like, they need their own spaces. And I'm like, it was kind of like the Chris Tucker. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, do you? Like, you're stressing the importance that, listen, they have to have spaces, but somebody don't even understand it. Or I even had to say, if your child was going to a doctor's appointment, would this be acceptable for them to be in this space? Would you accept that? No, you would not. So let's have the same respect for our students here. And it's like, why do I have to have the conversation?
Right. And needless to say, that for the environment for your staff, that is not a morale booster to be in a closet closed in. There's probably no windows, and the air quality, so
And you don't know what their
we
other
talk
health
about,
issues they may.
wanting, you don't know what.
Right. You don't even know what other health issues the students may have. And you have no windows. No windows to open to have fresh air come
Right.
in.
Spacing is definitely.
Yes, repeat that one more time.
Did we really need that? Okay.
It's I don't get it. And well, this is why we have you, Demetria, so you can come into the schools, so that way you can educate not just the students, support the students, but also the leaders, so they can understand the importance of efficiently supporting those students in those spaces that have special needs. So this is why you need to have support. My tutor helps me. Like, follow her.
Right.
Okay. Her website is there. So do you have any do you have any particular stories where you want to share where you really like accomplished something working in the SPED field, or like a funny story or overcoming story you would like to share? It could be you as
Oh,
a teacher, it could be with a student.
story. A story. I'm sure there's plenty of stories. Let me try and find something here in my mind. For myself, the students I primarily have, I have them for seventh and eighth, and it's so wonderful to see the growth that happens with them in those 2 years, and see them achieving their goals and then going to the next level and surprise themselves that they actually did it, that they achieved it. And since I have eighth graders, that's that transition to high school year. So teaching them how to advocate for themselves appropriately, and nuances of high school and the expectations, and what you did in middle school may not work too well in high school, since you're going to need those credits for graduation. So not exactly a story or anything, just more of a situation of seeing the students progress. Always such a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Yeah, when they
Yeah.
feel that success and they feel like they achieve something, it's a heartwarming feeling. It's like one of the best feelings ever. So, Demetra, what do you wish you
Yes,
knew then?
it
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Oh, what do you wish you knew then when you first started in special education that you know now?
that it was really a 2, 3 person job. It really is two separate jobs that needs two separate, very well paying paychecks. And
Yes,
that's no exaggeration either.
yes. Yeah, I wish I knew that
Another
too.
another thing, another okay, and another at the time that I was coming into education, coaching didn't really this in 1995. So for a lot of the students, they were in the small group classes as opposed to being in the co-taught classes. So Honey has been very good with providing in the past co-teaching models, what a co-teaching classroom looks like, and lots of training, a lot of professional developments. But we've had that for a while, and I think that it would be a benefit to them about offering that again for a co-teaching and co-teaching models and professional developments.
Yeah. Yes, education definitely has changed from because when you said 1995, I'm like, I'm just thinking, wow, just seeing, knowing how special education was back then to how it is now. Like some things have not changed, but you have had a lot, had some changes. But yeah, those are some good. those are those are some good ones. I definitely wish I knew that back then when I first started. So what is one piece of advice you would give someone who's starting out in the field of special education?
Oh, definitely see if you can get a mentor that may or may not be in the school system, in your school. I think I had wonderful, wonderful mentor. She was at the school that I taught for maybe 20 years before I even had stepped in. I was really, really very fortunate to be right next door to her. And I really do accredit everything that I know because of her. She retired maybe about 4 years ago, but she 5 years, about 37 years in Washington, D.C. And still friends now. We travel a lot together, so that's great. But seeking a mentor, whether they are in your school system, or if you have to pay for services, the nuances that they will learn, new teacher will learn, or even a seasoned teacher. The seasoned teachers can use some assistance also. This provide finding a mentor to help them.
Yeah, I think that is
Yeah.
I definitely second that advice. I wish I had I want to say when I first started, the district gave me a coach, but she couldn't really meet with me as much because she was at other schools. I mean, and she was nice, but I'll say also I was able to I want to say when I was teaching in Philly, the last school I was at in Philly, I had a mentor. It was just like a blessing because she was a seasoned sped teacher. She was amazing. And I learned a lot from her, and we just developed a good, friendship, from that, because you're not always fortunate enough to have a seasoned person who want to mentor you, you know um because sometimes they may feel like you're
Right.
not coachable, and everybody isn't coachable, and that's the truth. You have to be coachable. You can't go in like I know everything, because you don't. And what I liked about our relationship is she was seasoned, so she was showing me things that worked for her. And because I was new, I was showing her, oh, try this. Let's try this, because this will make this easier. This will be helpful. This will be, and she was open minded to it as well. She wasn't like closed minded to it. So I think that's another reason why our relationship just worked so well. I was coachable, and she was open minded to me, even though she had many years on me as a sped teacher. So yes, definitely get a mentor, someone that you can connect with, who's open to coaching, to open to mentoring you, and you're open and coachable, I would say. Yeah. So thank you so much for this conversation, Demetra. Do you have feel free to take this moment to again let people know where they can follow you, find you, and if you have any events or anything that's going on that you're launching, definitely take this time to let everyone know.
Oh, let's see. Finding me would be at mytutorhelpsme.com. I do have a Facebook page that I need to work on, but information is definitely still there. I have some nuggets. Whether you are my personal, if you want to be on my personal page, please feel free. It's Mitra Bryant. I can download there. So, like a strategies for kids with ADD, ADHD, strategies for students with learning disabilities. I have that download. Lots of pictures and videos on website of actual tutoring sessions, seeing kids develop throughout time and activities that we do, because I use a multi-sensory approach to tutoring session that most kids may not get in school. And I think that's what helped thrive. So lots of photos and videos. There are also on the site some other casting that I had given away some nuggets there. I am currently working on the summer program. the summer program. So I'm going to be doing some coding available, podcasting for the students, as well as arts and crafts through literature. So there's a lot of things that are going on. I do teach tutor in person and online. The online experience is not on Zoom. I use another multi-sensory approach even online. That's, like I said, we don't use Zoom. We use something totally different so the kids can really, really interact with me and each other and learn that way. So
Ooh, that's
those
different.
courses will be coming enrichment
At school,
programs.
definitely hop on that. That's using a whole different system that is a multi-sensory and can really connect with students, because you know how they were on Zoom when we were teaching during the pandemic, when the pandemic first hit. So listen, take advantage of that.
Mhm.
Okay. So thank you so
Take
much.
advantage. And
Yes.
you're welcome. We have a lag. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. But thank you so much. Thank you. And so thank you for tuning in to Their Voices Matter series. This was episode 2. We have 2 more because we're doing it every week, the month of March, focusing on special education educators and their journey. Oh, this has been great. It's going so well. For those of you who are new and just following, I am Jamila Bashir, aka the IEP Coach, and I'm the owner of the IEP Coach LLC, where we help principals keep their special education teachers from leaving the field by providing them with the training that they need, and we tailor the PDs and the coaching to what they need. So definitely get me in your school principal so I can help you stay in compliance and help you keep your special education teachers. Okay. So make sure you tune in next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Their Voices Matter series. Also, we go live every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday at the Coaching Corner. And we focus on, the discussion is everything special education. Okay. And make sure you follow us at the IEPCoachLLC.com. That is our website. And we are on all social media platforms at the IEP Coach. So make sure you follow us there so you know when we go live. You can check out our TikTok. You can check out our Instagram page, Facebook pages. You can connect with us. You can also email us. And if you want to book any services with the IEP Coach, you can definitely do that. I'm going to put our link in the chat so you can connect with us. And again, share this out. If you are watching this on the replay, put hashtag replay in the comments, and we will see you all next week. Have a great Sunday and be safe.